I'm ready to do the neckband. So here is my neckband piece, and what I do in addition to what the pattern says is I measure this neckband piece and I put the measurement on, so you can see that this neckband is 4.5 centimeters this way, and it's 33, is that 0.8 centimeters that way. Okay, because I'm not going to actually cut with this pattern piece, but I cut it out because someday I might do, or I might need to, and it's to remind me I need to cut this pattern piece. So on here we can see it's already marked. There's two markings. We have the grain line, which is up and down here, and normally when you see a grain line it will have open arrows. The stretch line here on a pattern has the dark filled in arrows. Brain surgeon comes to mind, but if you write stretch on it you can see that's which way they want the stretch to run. So I've got my fabric and I've got it folded here because I'm not going to cut it 33, I'm going to cut it half of that, just my preference, so there'll be a fold, but it will end up being 33. So I folded my orange fabric. Now on the orange fabric you'll find you're not quite sure which is the right side. There are ways to tell, but you've a 50-50 chance of remembering. So what I do on this, it has like a slight rib on it, if you look, and your t-shirts you buy do. One side you can sort of see the ribbing more than on the other side. I choose the ribbing side as my front. I don't know whether that's right or not. But what you need to do is choose which side you prefer and stick with that. So whatever you cut in this fabric for this garment, always make sure whichever side you prefer you use as the right side. So I'm going to use this stripier side. It really is. You can only just tell it is. But anyway. So I've folded this over. It says I'm going to do it, 33.8 centimetres. So it needs to be about 17 centimetres. So I'm going to round that up to 34 because it's easier, and 2 millimetres is not going to make the difference. So half of 34 is 17 centimetres. Now I have this lovely long ruler. It's fabulous. It's a quilting ruler. If you do quilting, you buy beautiful long rulers like this. This one's a centimetre one. I do have an inch one, but I use the centimetre one more when I'm pattern cutting. The inch one is much more for if I'm doing some quilting. It is pretty damaged from, as I'll be able to show you, there's bits cut out of it from using the this. I'm at that age, words fail me sometimes, so you'll just have to follow me. So I'm going to use this. So I want a piece on here, 17 centimetres by 4.5. And because I'm going to use this ruler, I can get it really straight. And that helps. And it cuts this fabric much better than my scissors will ever cut it. You also note I've got a board that's in centimetres. These help too, to line it up and get things straight. So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to cut, let's see, 2, 4, 4.5. So I'm going to cut 5 from the edge because I'm going to then cut this near edge off. But make sure all the way along I have got at least my 4.5 sat there. And I'm going to square it up at the fold as well. So make sure I've got 4.5 centimetres at least all the way along there. And also make sure my piece is at least 17 centimetres, which it is. So we'll square that up there. Make sure I've got my 5.5 to run. I've got my rotary cutter. It says on it. I'm like most people. My rotary cutter really needs a new blade. And I'm very lazy at changing it. I do have the blades, don't know where though. I'll find them some one day and change them. So now I've moved my ruler and I'm going to put the 4.5 centimetre mark, which is quite tricky on orange fabric as it's a red mark on the ruler. I'm going to put my 4.5 centimetre mark down the line I've just cut. There we go. And I'm going to cut to that side. This is where I usually go wrong, when I'm bending the wrong way. And I have frequently cut into this poor ruler. I did have one with a metal edge on it, but the metal edge, they come off. They come unstuck and come off. There we go, we've done that. So then I'm going to just pull it back, get my 17 centimetres, which will give me a 34 centimetre strip. And I'm cutting across here. Now, I know you can't see this very well, but you will see when I then peel back. I have my scissors here. As I said, I need to put a new blade in. There's just a little chinks occasionally that it doesn't cut. It's very annoying. I really do need to change the blades. But I'm human. I'm not one of these posh dolly birds on your videos showing you. I'm just a human like you. And there we go. There's my strip, 17 by 4.5. I open it up and magically I've got 35 by 4.5. And if you've stitched cotton like, you will know it curls. That's another reason for cutting a half one, because the edges do stay uncurled until you do what I just did. So it'll stay nice and flat until I'm ready to use it. Okay. That's my cutting out done. Okay. Now, I don't have any magic secrets for you on how to get cotton lycra not to curl at the edges. Some people do. I just persevere and try and always keep it as flat as possible. When I folded up, I have taken the time to try and make all the edges as flat as possible as I've folded it. Because if you just fold it because you're really annoyed it's all curly, it's never going to be uncurled, and it can be very annoying. So here are our pieces, and I'm going to lay my pieces out and pin my sleeves where they should go. As I said before, if you're a beginner, please mark on your dots. I find a great thing to use for the dots is the heat pens, and you can mark them on, and then when you press it with your iron they disappear. It's really good. I only have one problem, which is I live in Bulgaria now I've retired, and in the summer here it can get to 40 and 50 degrees and my heat pens don't stay on very long, so I have to work quite quickly. But they are great. In the UK, they'll work brilliantly. And like I say, they do disappear. And they do work. Right, so I'm taking my patterns off, making sure I know which is the front one I've just taken off. There is a slight difference in the raglan. But all the same, it's much better to make sure you know which is which, because I'm going to lay my sleeves and pin. If you've marked on, you will have marked solid dots and not round circles, or you could mark them in different colours. As I've said, I'm not very good at doing that. So I've done this for long enough years that I can do it this way. And what I'm going to do is lay the 4 pieces out. So I'm going to pop a pin on, let me have a look, that's the back, that's the front. I'm going to put a pin into the front edge of the sleeve. So on my pattern, it says front side, and I've written back side there. So I only need to put it in the front or the back, because if I put them in both, I'll get confused. So I'm just putting a front pin in on the front of each of the pieces of sleeves. So I know to match the pin side to the front. So I have my front piece here. I'm going to open it out, and I'm going to take the right side of my orange And I'm only sticking one pin in. I'm not even matching it up properly. I'm just matching it up roughly because when I come to sew it, I'll match. Okay, so I've pinned the sleeve right sides together roughly on the front, and this is the other one with the pin in the front, and I'm roughly going to pin it on here to the other front raglan seam, right sides together. This works really well on raglans, not so well on a fitted sleeve, doing it this way, because what I'm going to do is do all the seams at once, as you can see. So I'm going to get the back now. Here's my back piece. And again, right sides together. So I've turned the sleeve out, so the right side's up and right sides together. That's the back raglan. I'm going to pop a pin into there. And the other back raglan, you can see I'm dragging it across everything that's on my board to the other flicked out sleeve. Pop them together and pop a pin roughly in them there. Okay, so when you pick this up, there's 4 pins in it, and you can see, okay, sleeve, front, sleeve, back, holding them where they need to be sewn. But I'm going to sew all these seams at once. I'm not going to do one, press one, do one, press one, do one, press one. I'm sewing them all at once. It's much quicker that way. Okay, so I'm going to move across to the sewing machine and we'll do that.